All right, let's advance the conversation by bringing in Susquehanna International Group's Chris Rolland. He's a senior equity analyst at the firm. Chris, what do you think of the results you've seen? And I note that you say there are headwinds facing this stock, and that is one of the reasons why you've cut your price target on it.
Yeah, this was basically as in line as I could have imagined. There are some headwinds, as I suggested, but primarily in markets that are affecting everyone, like industrial and comms through their Xilinx business. Really, their server is at the first point now, very competitive with Intel. That is ramping, taking share. And as you guys have been talking about, the MI300 GPU is very exciting for the data center.
And so why the price cut from 145 to 130? Explain that to me. Take that apart.
Yeah, some of this is slower server than our expectations for last year that were really quite robust. The second part is the Xilinx business that they bought. That business, according to Intel, who has a similar business, is losing about a third coming into next year.
Chris, it's Karen. Thanks for being on today. So how do you get to the 130? What's the multiple, or how do you think about that valuation?
Yeah, it's a great question. We are now looking at EPS primarily. For next year, we're looking at about $3.50 to $4. So we're looking at about 25 times overall. And really, this is going to be about growth. It's going to be about traction around MI300. And can that multiple go up from there if we do indeed see better growth dynamics around AI?
Chris, since they reported, I'll shift gears. NVIDIA, I mean, in the after hours, I saw a 516 print a couple months ago. Obviously, it traded sub 400 today. What do you make of this more now, the 20% move to the downside? And how does that set up into earnings? You know, if margins, they start to decelerate, this move might look like nothing in comparison.
Yeah, it's amazing the discounting mechanism that the market is. For NVIDIA, very specifically, we are still expecting beats for at least the next quarter. I would see $1 billion of beats coming for this next quarter. We're already, the buy side is talking about March or April for NVIDIA, what that will look like. And then is there indeed a correction sometime mid next year? If so, how deep? And that's really where the conversation is right now on the buy side.
Dan, any thoughts here?
Yeah, Chris, what do you make of the story out of the Wall Street Journal about NVIDIA and $5 billion worth of orders, you know, in China? And what would that mean for, like, just basically just inventories in general for these chips and pricing?
So NVIDIA was most likely shipping as much as they could to China before that rumored ban. The actual institution of the ban was quicker than expected. So indeed, they may have been caught with some sales that did not get out the door in time. But that said, some of that will be fungible and can be moved on to newer players out there. And some of them some of those products are China specific and may have to be eaten or heavily discounted.